In today's video, I'm going to be discussing narcissists and pathological lying. So if you've ever wondered to yourself, why do they do that? I'm going to answer that question in great detail for you today so you know exactly how to deal with a lying narcissist moving forward. Let's get started. Now, before I begin this video, I just want to quickly mention that the free one-to-one consult with either myself or a member of my team for the Freedom Class program is open. So be sure to click the link in the description below to sign up for your free call to see if we'd be a good fit for working together. And if you're new here, welcome. Please take a second to say hello and introduce yourself in the comment section below. And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. My name is Tamie M. Joyce. I'm an empowerment life coach and creator of the Freedom Class. I help people heal from painful family of origin and romantic relationship patterns so they can finally live their best lives in peace, confidence, and freedom. So let's talk about narcissists and pathological lying. If you've ever had to deal with anyone who lands on this spectrum of destructive narcissism, you know full well that lying comes with the territory, even when it would be just as easy or easier to tell the truth. So why do they do it? Well, first of all, it's all about perception manipulation. It's a power trip. It's how they control you, perceptions, opinions, outcomes, circumstances, and environments. It's how they go out of their way to create loyalty conflicts between you and others. It's how they can control your perception of them. Again, perception manipulation. So it's how they make themselves appear, or try to make themselves appear to be stronger, better, smarter, more successful than they actually are. It's how they hide their shortcomings, character defects, failures, flaws, deficiencies, etc. It's not that narcissists don't know the difference between right and wrong. It's that it doesn't moderate their behavior the way it does the rest of us, right? They don't have the same guilt or shame emotional reaction that you or I would by lying by omission or, lying outright, right? So the difference between right and wrong, it's not that they're not aware of it. If you observe them, they can be very selective about how they show up in front of who. So they certainly know the difference, and they certainly have the ability to choose. It's just that, again, it doesn't moderate their behavior. And narcissists will lie about anything, even when there's no advantage or obvious benefit. In addition to perception manipulation, it's also very much about entitlement. Destructive narcissists feel entitled to lie, whether outright or by omission, using truth out of context, putting their particular twist on a story, spinning the narrative in whatever way serves them and their purposes best. They have no issue lying because more often than not, the truth would come with consequences that they don't want to experience. And if you had all the information, they wouldn't get their own way. So lie they will. Again, destructive narcissists feel entitled to lie. They have an irrational sense of entitlement, a false sense of superiority, and as far as they're concerned, whatever it takes to get their way, spin the narrative in, again, the way that serves them and their particular agenda best, no problem at all. Not that they don't know the difference between right and wrong, it just doesn't moderate their behavior. One of the ways narcissists like to lie is through future faking. In other words, making false promises. I promise this, I promise that, when I introduce you to my parents, when I take you here, when we go there, when we do this, when we do that, when this happens, on, etc., etc. It's false promises and future faking, and they're real good at it. They'll promise you the moon. Meanwhile, they have absolutely zero intention or ability even to follow through on any of these promises. Another way a narcissist will lie to you is through gaslighting. In other words, causing you, or attempting to cause you, to question and doubt your own reality. The MO of a destructive narcissist is to lie, deny, and project. They will deflect responsibility and accountability and blame shift at all costs. It sounds something like this. I don't know. I don't recall. That never happened. That's not what I said. That's not what I did. Even if you have absolute, irrefutable proof and evidence to the contrary, they'll look you dead in the eye and continue to lie and deny. So it's important to remember a couple of things. First of all, yes, they're absolutely capable of this kind of destructive behavior. And also, you know what you live. You know what you lived, you know what you heard, you know what you saw, you know what you lived. So trust yourself. It's all about overcompensating for their deep-seated sense of inadequacy, inferiority, and shame. Embellishing, using toxic gossip, truth out of context, twisting, distorting, lying outright are all how the narcissist compensates for the truth. And the truth is, they come up short consistently, reliably, and predictably. So lie they must, for fear of being found out for who and what they truly are. And if you do happen to be in the process of figuring out who and what they truly are, you've likely been on the receiving end of some fake apologies. Another way that narcissists like to lie, through fake apologies, which fundamentally boils down to full-blown emotional manipulation. You'll notice because their "I'm so sorries" are actually not so genuine, they'll typically be laced with sarcasm, resentment, contempt, and disdain. Now, in my opinion, it's clear that people who land on the spectrum of destructive narcissism are literally operating through a distorted perception of reality. As I mentioned earlier, they don't feel guilt or have the same shame response that you or I would when lying. Actually, people who land on the spectrum of destructive narcissism, in other words, have a narcissist personality pattern, actually feel soothed and comforted when deceiving others. Sick, I know, but true. The latest neuroscience actually backs this up. People with a narcissistic personality pattern feel comforted when they're in the process of deceiving others, which might explain why their lying is so habitual, chronic, and pathological even. So the bottom line is this: they will lie anytime, anywhere, to anyone about anything, even about things that are super easy to prove, confirm, or verify. So it's important that you know that when you're dealing with this type of individual, you're dealing with someone who is absolutely capable of saying whatever it takes, no matter how untrue, cruel, or bizarre. They'll go to any lengths, right? So our job, if we have no alternative but to deal with someone like this in the short term, or God forbid, in the long term, is to be the truth tellers in our own life. Tell ourselves the truth. If things don't add up, they don't add up. If things don't feel right, they don't feel right. If the words don't match the behavior, the words don't match the behavior. Our job is to tell ourselves the truth about what we see, what we hear, what we feel. Don't rely on their words. Words are easy. Can they back up the words with predictable, reliable, consistent behavior? If we're talking about someone who lands on the spectrum of destructive narcissism, not likely. So my personal preference, when I determine that I'm dealing with a lying narcissist, whether the lies they tell are, your average toxic gossip bullshit lying by omission and truth out of context and all that sort of stuff that goes on, or great big huge lies, either way, folks like this are dangerous. People who are capable of saying whatever they want through their own distorted perception of reality on any given day are actually quite dangerous. Don't minimize that. So again, my personal preference, when I determine that that's what I'm dealing with, I give them lots of distance. And some of them, when it's distance time, are shocked. And I could care less. Let them be shocked. You want to lie by omission, distort, use truth out of context, and smear me through toxic gossip campaigns? Fill your freaking boots. But it won't be with me sitting down at your dining room table. It won't be with me visiting on a Sunday afternoon, right? Like, seriously, when you determine that that's what you're dealing with, again, the BS kind of toxic gossip that can be ever so insidious and destructive, or great big huge lies, it doesn't matter. Distance. But as I often say, it's true that we can't always establish no contact with these people immediately or right out of the gate. I certainly have lots of practice and experience at being able to do that, but I work with people every day who aren't quite ready or able for whatever reason. So if that happens to be you and you're not ready or able to put some serious distance there between you and the pathological liar, then at the very least, you must establish a solid support system for yourself. And I don't mean a support system of, weak, wimply enablers who are going to support you staying stuck right where you are. That's not what I mean. Not an echo chamber and people who are going to pat you on the head or pat you on the back and tell you what you want to hear on any given day. I mean a solid support system of people who actually understand the problem for real, but more importantly, are living in solutions, healthy solutions, not denial riddled solutions, not let's just, make it through another day with all the unhealthy nonsense BS and what have you, but healthy solutions long term, that kind of support system. Fortify yourself with a tribe of people, online or otherwise, who actually get it, who can help you see the forest for the trees, who can help you see the bullshit for what it is, who can help you stay clear and grounded and help you develop the muscle of discernment, right? The ability to say, yeah, no, that doesn't feel right, and discern that a thing is a thing. So a healthy, solid support system is vital. And the other piece is document everything. And I mean everything, every text, every email, every voicemail, everything, even the things that you think don't matter. Document everything. Your job is to be the truth teller in your life. Take care of yourself by removing yourself, ideally, from that type of obnoxious, toxic, destructive, damaging environment, right? People who lie, right? Your job is to take care of yourself, tell yourself the truth, and do what you need to do to support yourself moving forward. And lastly, I'll say this. If there's one thing that I have learned about being lied about, never mind lied to, but lied about by destructive narcissists, on a rampage of a smear campaign. At the very least, they're looking from their fear-based, insecure, little whatever it is that they've got going on. There's lots of words that we could use to describe it, right? I'll keep it clean. From that place, at the very least, they're often looking to create loyalty conflicts because they're so insecure and fear-based. God forbid you should have a good relationship with one of their little minions or, flying monkeys. That doesn't go so well, right? So at the very least, they're looking to create loyalty conflicts and gather the troops, all the BS games that they play, right? With their lies and distortions, etc. Worse is when we're on the receiving end of a full-blown smear campaign. We've ignited narcissistic rage by accidentally or otherwise inciting narcissistic injury. Often this comes because we are truth tellers ourselves. And now we're on the receiving end of a smear campaign. And it sucks. It's painful. It's devastating. I myself have been in a fetal position as a result of full-blown smear campaigns from a, sick family of origin issues and, all of it. One thing I know for sure is that getting in there, attempting to win the right fight, attempting to be heard and seen and validated and approved of, and overriding the effects of the smear campaign, more often than not, is a colossal waste of time and energy. We must get to the place where we can stand on the firm foundation of, I know the truth. I know who I am. I know what I have done. I know what I have not done. I may not be perfect, but I know the truth of who I am. I may have made mistakes. I might not have always gotten it right, but I know the truth of who I am. And that smear campaign is one massive distortion with a very specific agenda. And I don't have to get sucked into that vortex. And anyone who matters is going to give us the benefit of the doubt. And anyone who doesn't give us so much as the benefit of the doubt or the benefit of a conversation to hear our side, they don't matter. We have to let them go. My friends, I hope you got some value out of this today. If you liked what you heard, remember to give me a like, drop a comment, tell me what your biggest takeaway was. Again, if you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos throughout the week. And as I mentioned at the top of the video, we do have some spots available for the free one-to-one consult with either myself or a member of my team for the Freedom Class program. So be sure to click the link in the description below to sign up for your free call to see if we'd be a good fit for working together. And as always, I will leave you with this. Know your value and unlock your freedom. Much love. Bye for now.